Assalamu alaikum. I want everybody, I'm glad you're on here and I really appreciate that you've been here for my mom. I know a lot of you know my mom, a lot of them really don't know that much, but she has been an important part of my life. And I'm sure she was an important part of her brother, her sister's life and her brother's life. Um, Her passing away was extremely hard for us, for me and Alia. We never expected that to happen, even though we know people have to go to God, eventually. But it's kind of hard when your own parents, go. Um, we've had a really good life with her and my dad. We grew up, with their promise to keep us safe, their promise to raise us as good kids. And I am truly thankful that both of them did what they were supposed to do. And then we became, good kids. At least I think we became good kids. But their the way they treated us, the way they got us to do things, and the way they, explained and made us understand the things that we need to do to become successful people. And for that, like I said, I'm extremely thankful. I know mom is very friendly. She helped so many people that we can't even thank who they are. We don't even know who they are. And her passing has been a huge a huge deal for a lot of people that we have dealt with, the people we have talked to. And I know that you can see her laughing, her smiling, her just being uh, a humorous, amazing person. And for that, I really thank you for being here when we honor my mom on this fourth year day for her. And we hope that you will enjoy the Majlis and that you will see how important my mom was to me, to my sister, to my dad if he was still alive, and to the rest of you. She was the most amazing person for me and Alia, and I know that she misses us and that we're praying for her. And hopefully she'll be happy where she is and she'll be happy with us as we go through the next phase of our life, which is going to be really difficult, but we're going to get through. And I hope that at some point in time, we will see her as somebody who's here with us, but we don't want to keep, we don't want to be sad anymore because that's not what she wants. That's not what Allah wants. But that's going to take a little time. And I hope that you will, understand and give us the help we need to get to that point. Once again, thank you very much. And I hope you have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you all soon. Hafiz.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام، ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله. فإنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء، فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
برای تأجیل ظهور امام زمان باز بلند صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد و آل محمد. तेरे जाने से जिंदगी हो गई वीरान। माँ तेरे जाने से तेरे जाने से घर भी अब लगता है सुनसान। माँ तेरे जाने से तेरे होते हुए होते थे ज़माने मेरे। तेरे होते हुए होते थे ज़माने मेरे। लगते हैं अब सभी अनजान। माँ तेरे जाने से माँ तेरे जाने से। और बैठ कर पास मेरे बातें जहाँ करती थी बैठ कर पास मेरे बातें जहाँ करती थी सुना वो हो गया डाला। माँ तेरे जाने से माँ तेरे जाने से। कितने दुख मैंने दिए तूने वो हंस कर ही सहे। कितने दुख मैंने दिए तूने वो हंस कर ही सहे। सोच कर हूँ मैं पशेमान। माँ तेरे जाने से माँ तेरे जाने से। और जाते जाते भी दुआ जीने की दी तूने मुझे, जाते जाते भी दुआ जीने की दी तूने मुझे, अब हुई है तेरी पहचान, माँ तेरे जाने से, माँ तेरे जाने से। और तूने शबीर पे रोना भी सिखाया है मुझे, तूने शबीर पे रोना भी सिखाया है मुझे, याद कितने करूं एहसान, माँ तेरे जाने से, माँ तेरे जाने से। और माँ से लिपटे हुए रोते हुए कहते थे हुसैन, माँ से लिपटे हुए रोते हुए कहते थे हुसैन, जाती अब है ये मेरी जान, माँ तेरे जाने से, माँ तेरे जाने से। जिंदगी हो गई वीरान, माँ तेरे जाने से, तेरे जाने से। पर मोहम्मद वाला मोहम्मद सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद।
Before I begin, if I may ask all of you to please recite a Surah Fatiha for your Marhoomin and for mine and for the Shuhada and for Marhooma Naseembanu Taki. Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Let me first of all send my condolences to the Taki family on this being the 40th Majlis of the Marhooma. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate her, inshallah. May Allah give the family and the children specifically the patience now to live in this world under these new normal circumstances. The loss of a mother, of a wife, a sister-in-law, a relative, an aunt, maybe a grandmother. All these things are very difficult. And I wanted to speak a little bit today in my short discussion on the concept and the importance of mothers. Now, a lot has been said about this topic, and I wanted to include, the normal sort of Imam Sajjad discussion on mothers. But beyond that, I want to, understand or first comprehend myself, and then to maybe help all of you understand the maqam and level of a mother. Before that, however, it's unfortunate that sometimes, and that's just how it is, that we don't understand the value of one thing until that thing is gone. And that's when we truly realize what we had. And that's just how the human being is in general, be it health or be it poverty or be it risk or be it parents or be it loved ones. We don't understand, and when it comes to mothers specifically, we don't understand that shield of du'as that the mothers would constantly make sure is over us. Whether it's the idea that on her musalla, on her janamaz, on her prayer mat, in the amaz of qadr, she would always pray for her children. In fact, I remember that one of the examples that my teacher in the house would use when talking and trying to explain what the fitrat of the insan is, the innate nature of the human being is. They would try to make us understand that some things are absolute in all of human beings. Some things are true regardless of what you believe in or who you are or what gender you are, what color you are, etc., etc. And the example that oftentimes the ulama, the scholars, the teachers of the Hawza would give is the love that a mother has for her child. He says that is absolute, that is unique, it's innate inside the mother. The mother does not need to go to a class or a school or a dars or a lesson to learn how to love her children. The moment that she realizes that she is with child, that love now is with her. In fact, some could argue even before holding that child inside of her, she has this desire to become a mother. And that's why when you hear about these common examples from the life of the Holy Prophet, beautiful statements that sometimes now, for the kids right now who are trying to get over this idea, these things now hit home a little bit harder. When, a man comes to the Holy Prophet, says, Ya Rasulullah, I did Hajj with my mother on my shoulders. Those of you who have been for Hajj, you know that you alone doing Hajj is difficult enough. It's a physically demanding act of worship, be it the tawaf or sa'i or walking or whatever the case may be. For men, the night in Muzdalifah, those nights in Mina, everything is very, very taxing. To do that now with somebody on your shoulders, meaning he's telling the Prophet, I carried my mother, literally carried her through every now manasik of Hajj, through every now dimension, pillar of Hajj. And he says, have I paid her back for everything that she has done for me when I was a child? And the Prophet says, by Allah, you have not paid her back for one night that she was with you when you were a child. Because while you were doing it to pay her back, you did all the Hajj to pay her back. She did it completely out of love, expecting nothing in return, simply because that's what a mother does for her child. When the Prophet now is attending a funeral of a woman, buries the woman, talqeen is read, everything is done, the son of the marhooma, the son of the woman he just buried, he turns to the friends of that son and says, look after your friend now, more so than you have before, because now that protective shield of the dua of the mother is no longer with him in this world. One of the most selfless existences that we have inside of the deen, inside of Allah's creation, is the mother. This others first, then me is incredible. And that's why our fourth Imam says the right of the mother is that you should know that she went hungry so you could eat. She went thirsty so you could drink. She went sleepless so you could sleep. And then he says, and to me it's very poetic, I always say this, she stood in the burning sun so you could lay in the shade. Carried you and nobody carries anybody. And the beauty of it is that it's such a selfless, anonymous act. There are things that mothers do that nobody sees and nobody can appreciate, hatta even her own spouse, even the father inside the homes. Me as a father of three, I can see my wife doing things that she does not for fame or not for attention or not for anything else, but because that's what a mom does. And so I think sometimes we have these discussions in the deen so that people can understand. And if anybody right now is listening to this majlis who's a mother herself, understand please that you may never get the true recognition that you deserve amongst the people. And that could be your kids and your husband and your in-laws and your own parents and the community at large. The mother will always be taken for granted. That's simply how the mother is. Because there's no way that we can express to her how much she is or who she is until we feel that emptiness inside of us. And so if you are a mother and you're looking for validation, recognition, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that already. Allah places the maqam and the level of a mother much higher than any other relationship, beyond, of course, the prophets and the imams, within the human life. Even fathers are 3 times lower than that of the mother. Now we have, as fathers, we do our own and we have our own sort of strength on that, but we're talking about a mother. We're here to remember a mother who left this family now. It's been just over a month. And so, sometimes we have to stop and think, okay, maybe they don't see what I do, but God sees what I do, number one. Number two, the validation that God gives the mothers is that the only term or the only individual that is used to describe a Rabb inside the Quran are parents, right? Rabbi rahamuhuma kama rabbayani saghira. Okay? Now, to understand the maqam of parents, now within parents, like I said before, it's not even a contest, right? The mother, like I said, is higher 3 times than that of the father. Now, you ask me, where do I get that from? I get that from the Holy Prophet. A very open, a very traditional, very known hadith by our Holy Prophet. When a man comes, says, Ya Rasulullah, after you, and after God, and after the A'immah, who else do I serve? He says, your mother. He then asks, who else? Ya Rasulullah, he says, your mother. He says, who else? He says, your mother. 3 times he says, your mother. Then he says, your father. But even within the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to call somebody else a Rabb is incredible. Now, that doesn't mean that she is at the same level as the Rububiyyah of Allah. Of course not. The Rabb here refers to a Murabbi. help all of you understand this concept, okay? Sorry, what I meant to say, let me first understand. All of you, mashallah, know what's going on. And right now, you know, there are people tuning in from all different parts of the country, of the world, all different corners of the globe. And this discussion, like I said, is a fitri, universal discussion on mothers. And if we are individuals who have the luxury, and it is a luxury, to have our mothers alive, who is praying for us, then stop and appreciate that by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reaching out to her and showing her your appreciation. But let's first understand what Rabb means in Islam. Okay? When we understand the rububiyyat of Allah, we might understand to a certain extent the beauty of a mother. When we say Rabb, and you know, it's one of the worst translated words, I think, in Arabic. Rabb, Rabba. Usually you'll see in English du'as, or the translation is, oh my Lord. Ya Rabbi, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. And rububiyyah becomes lordship. Now that doesn't capture what the true essence of a Rabb is. In Islam, inside Islamic doctrine, Rabb has 6 different meanings to it. 6 different meanings to it. The first thing that they say is that Rabb also means Malik. Okay? The one who is an owner of something. Maliki Yawmiddin. The master of the Day of Judgment. The owner of the Day of Judgment. The one, of course, who governs and rules over the Day of Judgment. Over the Day of the Deen. That's one. Number 2 is Sayyid. Sayyid is somebody who has a complete authority over something. Okay, not Sayyid in terms of like, you know, Sayyid Naqvi or Sayyid Radavi or Sayyid No, Sayyid in terms of Allah's rububiyyat is something different. Sayyid means not only the idea of mastership like Malik, but complete authority. I'll give you an example, okay? Right now I'm sitting in Toronto, Canada. In Canada, we have a law here by the government that says that you cannot drive your car without proof of car insurance. You must have both the driver and the car insured, and proof of that, otherwise you can't drive your car. Even if the car is under your name, meaning you own the car. The ownership has Asa Jaffrey on the ownership. I cannot drive that car for 1 second without proper insurance. So while I own the car, I don't have complete authority over the car. The authority has conditions. Sayyid is somebody who is a complete authority over everything else. That's 2. Number 3, Murabbi. Murabbi refers to that entity that nurtures you. From tarbiyah, right? That helps you to grow. That helps you to identify your potential. Whenever you feel like things are not going your way, you sit there and you ensure, as a murabbi of that individual, that you are giving them all the right tools now to become somebody who is successful. That's 3. Number 4 is murshid. Murshid is one that flourishes. Flourishes. I'll give you an example of flourishing. In front of my house, true story, in front of my house, I have a front lawn of grass. Okay? And initially in the grass, there's 6 concrete slabs as a little bit of a front, I don't know, patio, I guess. And then the grass starts. Okay. So every time I go out to cut the grass or I pull the weeds or kind of fix the grass in the front, there's always something in between the concrete slabs. I have to pull out weeds, this and that. And sometimes there's grass. Now, very quickly now, sometimes there's grass. The grass somehow has made its way through the concrete slabs. These concrete slabs are very heavy. They're put on top of the grass. There is a plastic underneath the concrete slab. There's a concrete slab on top of the plastic. Okay? So now in order for this grass to grow through that, it must cut through the plastic, find 1 inch of daylight, and find its way through the concrete slabs. Fight the darkness, fight the weight, remove all the obstacles, and do what it does best and grow. Grass grows. That's called the flourishing of the grass. When everything else is around you, telling you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, it is the murshid that says you absolutely can do it. Believe in yourself. Know that I am right beside you. Allah says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةِ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. When they ask, when my servants ask you about me, Ya Rasulullah, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Tell them I'm near. I'll answer the call of the da'i, of the one who calls out, إِذَا دَعَانِ, whenever they call. Okay? A murshid is the one that gives you the wings to fly, helps you flourish, helps you power through every obstacle around you. That's telling you can't grow, you can't grow, you can't grow. Number 5, mun'im, a bestower, the one who gives you ni'mat and blessing upon blessing upon blessing, to the point where sometimes we feel so sharminda and so embarrassed in front of Allah that we can't even fathom for a second. He keeps giving me and giving me and giving me. And a lot of us now who have really felt this privilege of a life during this pandemic of a year and a half almost now. And finally, qayyim. Qayyim is the one who continues to restore the growth. Right? You bring a plant home, you initially put it in a pot, you give it water, you give it sunlight. You understand indoor plant, outdoor plant, close to the sun, away from the sun, water it once a day, water it once a week. You know all about the plant. As the plant grows now, what do? You repot the plant. Get a bigger plant, a pot, put some soil in, and literally uproot the plant and put it into a bigger pot. You're ensuring that it doesn't come home and die, that it grows and grows and grows. Sustaining the growth of something is called the qayyim. Now, that's a very quick synopsis. Each one requires a whole majlis, by the way. Yani when you say Ya Rabbi, and next time you read Dua Kumil, next time you read any dua, and it has the word Ya Rabbi in it, or Rabbana, or whatever the case may be, no, when you say Ya Rabbi, you're saying Ya Malik, Ya Sayyid, Ya Mun'im, Ya Murshid, Ya Murabbi, Ya Qayyim. All of these 6 are built inside the word Rabb. It's the most endearing term of Allah, the most loving term of Allah. All these things are meant to connect us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very first instance of the introduction, the official introduction of God to his Habib of the Prophet, he uses the word Rabb. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord who created you. Rabb is used, guys. Now, if we understand that to a 1% degree, we can take all of these things and we can apply them to a mother. A mother is our murabbi. A mother is our murshid. A mother is our mun'im. A mother is the one who nurtures us with her love and her care. A mother is the one who helps us grow, tells us you can do it, don't worry about it. Right? All these obstacles, the heaviness of the world, the darkness of the world, it's the mother now. Whether it be, and if you're like me, you have a typical immigrant mother who's from Pakistan or wherever you're from, they may not have the alfaz or the words to sit there and encourage you when you have a rough day. But she'll come and, she'll say, look, get up, let's go, come downstairs. She'll distract you. She might even make your favorite meal. She might even, take you out somewhere. She'll do something to recognize that my daughter or my son right now need a pickup. Let me do that. They may not have the words of 2021. I'm proud of you. I love you, my dear. You're so strong. And maybe some do. I don't know. But she finds her other way to make sure that the aching heart of my child has to be cured. She's our mun'im. She's a wasila of our ni'mat. Before we understood God when we were young, we understood Mama, that she was the one now that's bringing all this to the table. Yes, the father is there. And if this was a speech on fathers, I talk about fathers. Because the same Imam Sajjad says that, the father is the root of your tree and you are the branch. Whatever goodness the branch has comes from the root. But that's a different discussion, a different relationship. Right now, this is what I want to establish. That do we understand the maqam of the mother? The mother absolutely is the Qayyim, continues now to sustain growth. My mother still, I have a white beard, I have 3 kids, I'm an old man, and my mother, may God give her a long life, she still sits there and tells me, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure you do this. She tells me literally what topics to talk about on the minbar. After a majlis, she'll call me and give me points or encouragement. She'll tell me, make sure that you rest during the first 10 days of Muharram. Make sure that you rest during the days of Arba'een. We just finished the Arba'een programs up and down, online, Zoom, in person, whatever the case may be. And just yesterday she called me. You got some rest? Are you okay? Your voice is still not there. My voice is still not here. But make sure you're getting some rest. Drink some of this tea and make sure you warm up milk and add some haldi and all these beautiful recipes and prescriptions. Right? Mothers are they're doctors / psychiatrists / a chef / you name it. And when that mother is gone, it's a devastating hole. It doesn't matter how old, doesn't matter how young, doesn't matter how well or how sick, doesn't matter how near or how far. When you have the mother in your world, you know that, somewhere when it's time for her to pray, she doesn't pray for herself. Jarun thumma darun. Others and then yourself. Say the Fatima would teach Imam Mushtaba the etiquette of dua. Shahzadi would tell the second Imam that when you pray for others first. And then you. The sacrificial nature of a mother, she forgets about herself. I remember, going to university here in Toronto, I would leave the house and she'd be there. She would be there. I could tell as I was putting on my shoes, I could hear the low whispers of her du'as under her breath. She wasn't saying it so I could hear it. She was saying it so that I could be protected. I'd come home sometimes late at night and, from studying, and, she'd be awake in her bed, but she wouldn't sleep until all of her kids were home and safe inside her bed. That love, when it's gone, leaves a gaping hole. And as hard as we try to fill it, it's very difficult to fill that hole. And so it's tough, it's hard. It's hard, especially in this difficult world where every day seems to be such a challenge for a lot of us, to not have that support system, not have that flourisher, the nurturer, the bestower. To a certain degree now, I'm not placing it at the same level as God, of course, but I am saying that where Allah says, do not ascribe partners to me, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and be good to your parents. In that now, there is a difference between mothers and fathers. And as much as it is the fitrat of the mother to protect her child, cause no harm for the child, take the harm away from the child. If her child is sick, she prays, Allah, give me the sickness. Give me the scars. Give me the pain. Just rescue my child from that sickness and pain. That's the innate nature of the mother, that she would rather go through pain. She would rather eat, let's say, for example, expired food. She would rather, for example, be uncomfortable than have all that be upon their child. But the mothers of Karbala were completely different. These were women now who were preparing their children for battle. That would sit there and say, I want you to drown yourself in Hussein as he has drowned himself in God. On the night of Ashura, Imam Hussein could hear the crying of a woman come from one tent. He enters that tent, he sees Rabab is sitting there, Sakina on one side, Ali Askar on the other, and she's weeping. Imam said, Rabab, is everything okay? Why are you crying? She says, Mawla, everybody else has someone to sacrifice. Farwa has Qasim, Layla has Ali Akbar, Zainab has Ona Muhammad. I don't have anyone to sacrifice. I have a 4-year-old, I have a 6-month-old. her gila, her complaint was, these kids are too young to sacrifice. Who will I give who will I sacrifice on my path towards the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And my salams to you, Rabab. Many could say that you were that mother that sacrificed everything harder than any other sacrifice that there could be. You were the one now that when the qafla was ready to go from the Zindan of Sham towards Karbala and Medina, just a few days back we had the Arba'in of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. We read the Masa'ib. The qafla now is getting ready to go, to leave Sham and to go back to Karbala. And there Rabab is sitting at the grave of Sakina, her 4-year-old Masoom daughter. Sakina, you would ask me, Mama, these birds are going home. When are we going to go home? Can you please rise up from your sleep, Sakina? Come back towards me now. We're going back to Medina. If that wasn't enough, the same Rabab, with all that grief of leaving her daughter in the prison of Sham, enters now Karbala. The Arba'in of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein first now goes to the grave of her husband, her Mawla, her Imam, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, grieves for her husband, cries for her loved ones. Then she says to Imam Sajjad, Sajjad, can you please tell me where you buried Ali Asghar, my 6-month-old Ali Asghar, the same one that Hussein took inside the Maidan of Karbala. If you think that I will drink the water, come and please give him water yourself. But Umar ibn Saad says, Hurmala, quench the boy's thirst. Hurmala tells Mukhtar, I grabbed an arrow, a 3-prong arrow I use on animals, and I shot that arrow with such force, it went in one side of Ali Asghar's neck, came out the other. How Rabab helped Hussein bury their 6-month-old, I'll never understand. Now this Rabab is back in Karbala, crying for her Hussein, crying for her Aqa. Sajjad, where is my Ali Asghar, Sajjad? Where'd you bury my Ali Asghar, Sajjad? Imam Sajjad now says, hey Rabab, when I was burying my father, he himself said, Sajjad, bring me my 6-month-old Ali Asghar, bury him with me, put him on my chest, let him be buried with me. I buried him with my father, Hussein. My only question to Imam Sajjad is, hey, my 4th Imam, Yabna Rasulullah, that must have been such a difficult thing to do, but how is it possible that you took a 6-month-old and you buried him on the chest of a man whose 10 different horses trampled them to the point where the Wal Mal'oon, the last of the ones who was on the horse, said, by Allah, when my horse trampled Hussein, I could hear the cracking of his ribs. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel ibadat, inshaAllah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if this majlis has any reward, if you've accepted this majlis on our behalf, please, we ask you to send the Sawaab to Marhooma Naseembanu, inshaAllah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to give the family this sabr jameel, this patience it needs to get through this world without that saya, without that shade of the mother. And finally, Allah, we ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make the marhooma worthy of the arrival of the Imam. Elevate her and hereafter, forgive her sins, and make her right, give her a maqam amongst the awliya of Allah, inshaAllah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा. ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। बेवारिसी हो या बेरदाई, बेवारिसी हो या बेरदाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। परचम उठाकर गाजी का अपने पूरे करूंगी मैं तेरे वादे। परचम उठाकर गाजी का अपने पूरे करूंगी मैं तेरे वादे, पूरे करूंगी मैं तेरे वादे। बाबा करेंगे मुश्किल कुशाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। पैगाम तेरा मिटने न दूंगी, प्यासी रहूंगी पैदल चलूंगी। पैगाम तेरा मिटने न दूंगी, प्यासी रहूंगी पैदल चलूंगी। प्यासी रहूंगी पैदल चलूंगी। मजलूमियत की बनकर गवाही, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। बेटों का मातम उस दिन करूंगी, चहलुम तुम्हारा जब कर चुकूंगी। बेटों का मातम उस दिन करूंगी, चहलुम तुम्हारा जब कर चुकूंगी। चहलुम तुम्हारा जब कर चुकूंगी। मैंने यही है मन्नत उठाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। और ताबूत तेरा गाजी का परचम उठते रहेंगे दुनिया में हरदम। ताबूत तेरा गाजी का परचम उठते रहेंगे दुनिया में पैहम। दुनिया उठते रहेंगे दुनिया में पैहम। मैंने कसम है ज़हरा की खाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। बेवारिसी हो या बेरदाई, बेवारिसी हो या बेरदाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा। ज़ैनब का तुझसे वादा है भाई, दुनिया में तेरा मातम रहेगा।
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت. ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم. ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان. ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبة. ولعن الله ابن مرجانة. ولعن الله عمر بن سعد. ولعن الله شمرا. ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم. وعلى أشياعكم برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله وأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابيبكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع أهل السماوات والأرض اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين عليه السلام وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانه وعمر بن سعد والشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين عليه السلام يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
Thank you everyone for attending. I know it's a Saturday, at least for here, it's a Saturday morning, and I'm sure you guys have things to get done. But I know my mom's going to be happy. I know my dad's going to be happy that you remember them and that you are here to pray for them and that you've been an amazing support. This is going to be done without you. Ali and I we've gone through difficult things, and this was extremely difficult. So thank you for being here. Um, I hope that your duas will be accepted, not just for my mom and dad, but for all the marhumins. Sila Fatiha, please, for my mom and dad, and for every marhumin who hasn't been here, who have left before we even, who were not there this year as they were last year. Thank you.